Johnson, and this is focused on Liberia. Hit it! From Kemau to Cape Palmas, Mount Nimba to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Pocondre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I am Ansony Sieh, and welcome to Focus on Liberia. This is FOL Justice Forum, a program dedicated to look at issues Satya will say legalistically, and we have two outstanding legal minds here to help us provide some understanding on a very political issue, but we are looking at the legal side of it, trying to get the legal understanding of the attempts to remove Fonati Kofa as Speaker of the 55th Legislature. So the topic for today, the legal ramification of the attempts to remove Speaker Fonati Kofa. Seated and ready to participate in this discussion is Focus on Liberia legal analyst, Councillor Frederick A.B. Jewell. Councillor Jewell, it's good to have you. How you doing? How's family? Long time no see.
I'm doing fine. Thank God we are around, and I'm happy again to be back.
All right. It is good to have you. Also seated and ready is another legal mind. Anthony Freeman is here. Anthony Freeman, welcome. How you doing? How's family?
Yeah, thank you. We're doing good. So troubling times for Liberia, but we'll see how we can make sense of it.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us. And folks in cyberspace, do us a favor, share the broadcast with somebody. Having a legal understanding of what is a political fight is key to understanding the whole thing in its entirety, because there are legal aspect of it. The Constitution has provision that actually the lawmakers must respect in their attempt to remove the speaker. So we want to look at it from the legal side, so that we can have a better understanding of whether or not they are in the right to do so or not. So, gentlemen, let's get started here, and let me start with you, Anthony Freeman. If you look at the entire attempt by some of the lawmakers who are trying to remove Fonati, what are some legal trouble if any, you think they might run into if they force this thing the way they seems to be doing right now?
Well, there is a potential for a stalemate.
Okay.
Okay. And that is because as it stands, one party has to gain ground against the others in order for the stalemate to be breached. For example, okay, the Constitution, I think it's Article 49. Let me be sure. Yeah, so it calls for a two-thirds majority, which we know the number is, I think, 49. And they have, I think, 42 or whatever. So, yeah, if they don't get that number, it means they have to get people from the Fonati's camp to get the number. If the Fonati people in their camp dig in, but then they also do not constitute a quorum, then there's a stalemate. And it is typical in sometimes legislative politics that you do have stalemate. I remember I was in the US here 2018, 2019, there was a big stalemate over the budget between Nancy Pelosi and Donald Trump. And I think that thing went on for like 90 days or so, right? Until finally, I think it was Trump that blinked, and eventually they had to pass the budget. So the idea of stalemate in parliamentary democracy is not unusual, it's not unheard of. It's part and parcel of the political arrangement. Yeah, but that's what they need to do in order to bridge the gap. And somebody has to gain some ground against the other. We'll see how that plays out.
Thank you. Councillor Joel, Article 49 states that the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, and other officials so elected may be removed from office for cause by resolution of two-thirds majority of the members of the House of Representatives. What seems to be happening now, legally speaking, as we know it, Councillor Joel, the group trying to remove Fonati, they don't have the 49 that they are looking for. In other words, they don't have the two-thirds. So they are trying to use political pressure, as were in the case with Snow, as were in the case with Tyler, when the pressure then suffocated them politically and they resigned. More than likely, this is what they are up to. And you are aware, Fonati is saying, look, if you don't have that required threshold, 49 2/3, I'm not going anywhere. Is there any legal way other than obtaining the 49 that they can go about this?
No, the Article 49 is very clear. It's talking about the two-thirds majority of those who want to remove the speaker that is elected once every 6 years. But I don't think the number of people who want to remove Councillor Fonati Kofa currently, they are 43. That's how they refer to themselves. And they've been sitting separately in at the Capitol building in I think the Assembly Hall, where when they're having the Senate and the House meeting together, they are sitting there and saying, we have simple majority. They don't care as to. I think they will find it difficult, if not impossible, to just remove Councillor Kofa if they don't get it 49. But as it seems, it appears that they are not mindful of the legal implication, the complex complexity of the removal. They are not interested in that. They are playing and borrowing from what happened during Mrs. Ellen Johnson's early time. Snow, there were a group of people who said they were holding, assembly outside of Monrovia, I think somewhere in Broadville. They were trying to hold a session there, calling themselves simple majority. And Snow said that was not the case, and you're going to remain speaker. Come what may. But again, this is legislative politics. What happens in the Senate or in the House is different from what happens in the Supreme Court or what may happen in the executive branch of government. All these 49 guys are doing is that they are claiming to have a simple majority to sit and hold session. but they are not looking for whether they will get. I'm sure they will be happy they got the 49, but they're looking for means of sitting that the executive will come and break the tie. The Bouakai government may act as Mrs. Ellen Johnson-Sirleaf did in the past, saying that, hey, now the national budget is also being submitted. Who is the budget going to be submitted to the Fonati Kofa group, or is it going to be submitted to the 43 people who are claiming to have session, they can hold session? Now, if the executive, and that's the pressure they're mounting on the entire country, to the point that President Joseph Bouakai, may see reason to work with them. I understand by Tuesday next week, they will start electing their officials. Mind you, there are people still with Councillor Fonati Kofa, who I'm not sure whether he knows or not, but those people are not honest people supporting him. Take Fala, for example. Fala is dead, but is Fala actually dead? Is he supporting Kofa? Or is that means that he will go to he is pumping up the 43 representatives. So there's a stalemate. The stalemate there is that unless they can get the number, constitutionally they will not be able to do anything, knowing fully well that even if Councillor Fonati Kofa ran to the Supreme Court on a writ of prohibition, that would not work because the writ of prohibition would be interfering with the legislative matter, which is political in nature. So therefore, they will play along to either the executive branch of government sees reason to work with them and remove Fonati Kofa.
So, Councillor Jewel, before I get to Konyene here, the issue of quorum is key. So the opposing bloc to Fonati obviously have quorum. For the number required to have quorum is 37. Is that enough for the executive to do business with that bloc that is opposing Fonati?
So legally, you may say yes or no, and politically no. Politically, you may say no, and legally, you may also say yes in that they have achieved having more than 37. But when Article 33 was written, the framework of the Constitution did not anticipate that there would be a split in the House, where for the 3 members of the House out of the 73 who sit somewhere and call themselves plenary.
Yeah.
That was not the anticipation. So in order to answer whether or not they constitute legally, the simple majority that the law requires, there will be a need to go back to the notes of the framework of the Constitution. What were they thinking when they wrote Article 33? Were they saying that, were they looking at the House as a unit? Or were they looking at the House as some people splitting and going one side, and 43 of them saying, we are having a plenary on this side? And so the Fonati bloc will have to adjourn from time to time. Is that what the framework of the Constitution was thinking? Or I doubt it. They were not thinking that there would be a divided House, that one group would call itself. So if they were not thinking that way, then the question is it constitutional? Though they have 43, for them to sit separately and do business legally, the answer would be no. But the issue surrounding that is that by sitting as they are now doing, is it politically feasible in order to sit that way and pressurize the country, including the executive branch of government, to say, deal with us, because we have the number, we have quorum, we can hold session, we can conduct the business of the state. Politically, the answer is yes. But if you went to the Supreme Court will say that this is not what the framework were thinking, that one group, the House will be divided. One group behind Councillor Fonati Kofa, and one group behind the 43 members sitting together. So your quorum you're talking about and your simple majority you're talking about is not what the framework contemplated. But how be it, even the Supreme Court could rule that way. The question is, can the Supreme Court mandate the 43 to return to the full chamber of the House and sit under the gavel of Councillor Fonati Kofa? No, they cannot. The court does not have the enforcement power to say that you can, all 43 must return. Even if they did return, and the 43 decide to filibuster whatever happening in the House, Fonati Kofa still become useless and meaningless. So
Thank you.
I said that it would be better if they discuss and reach across the aisle and decide to see how things can work.
So, Koine, the opposing bloc, they have quorum. Is that 43, 42, they have enough to make a decision? For example, 49 is saying to remove the speaker, you must have cause and you must have to third, and also 49 members for that decision to be binding or for it to hold. Other than that, it will have no effect. So they 43, 42, we're talking about. What is true, they have quorum, they can deliberate. Can they make a decision? Can they ratify an agreement? Can they pass the budget for it to be binding and become legal? You are muted. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know about major things like passing the budget, but and things that will require the speaker's signature, they will not be able to do that.
Okay.
But of course, it is possible once they can have a quorum. Of course, they can win smaller battles. You know, if you're in a war, the way to winning the war is to win smaller battles. As you win smaller battles along the way, you get stronger and you are able to convince other people. So the whole thing is numbers eventually, but the fact that they can convene and have a discussion and take action, which Fonati is not able to do, that puts Fonati at a disadvantage. And the only thing we're discussing the thing, because you know the way we behave in Africa is very, I don't know how to describe it, but generally in most parliamentary systems, when you lose your majority, you don't only resign, you call a new elections. That's how it works. So, and Fonati lived in the Western world for I don't know how many years, but these guys, when they come back to Liberia, they behave as if what occurs in the Western society doesn't apply to Liberia. There is nowhere that you will lose your majority in parliament and want to preside. No, there is no such thing. And one of the problems that they are having there is because they are not even divided along party lines. You will see that the groups on Fonati's side is mixed up with United Party and CDC people, right?
Right.
And the group that are calling themselves majority black are also mixed up. So they're not even divided upon party line, because generally these things are divided along party lines. So let's say in most European countries, they don't have like second round elections like the way we have. They have first round and then they form coalition government. So let's say you win 45% of the vote and another person won 10% of the vote and you form a coalition government. At any point in time in parliament that those people who wanted 10% pull out of your governing arrangement and say they're not working with you anymore, you must call a new election. And that is what people know.
As we see in Great Britain most of the time.
You must call a new election.
Once you don't have the majority, you are out.
So I don't know what Fonati is thinking about when he knows that he doesn't have the parliamentary majority, but he wants to preside. You know, so I don't know. So, but I think,
but
okay,
you know,
so the document.
I'm just interrupting you, Koine. Fonati is Article 49, which calls for
that is true.
2/3 and about 49 members to sign a resolution. He said that himself, right? But to your point, right? What I want to know now is because a simple majority constitutes a quorum, does that, legally speaking, or in line with their rules, make the speaker to be irrelevant because he's the head? Just because they have majority, they can just do anything and even appoint committee members and heads. Can they do that?
No, he has administrative. He has administrative power. So any document that requires the signature of the speaker, only he can sign. Okay. Well, mind you, the legislature
has appointing power to a state. He has appointing powers, like trying to set a committee.
Yeah, administratively.
Yeah.
Yes. But mind you, there, like I said, smaller battles and the war, right?
So the fact that he has the administrative power to constitute committee and all that, can this group, because they want to function as a separate body that will have the administrative power, can they go and appoint committees that they can?
It may not be necessarily administrative power, but I know that once they can meet, they can take decisions. And if those decisions are short of requiring the speaker's signature, they can effect those decisions.
Okay.
So if they take a decision that does not necessarily require the speaker's signature, for example, then they can do it. And the more they have these smaller victories, the more it becomes difficult for Fonati to recover from his losses. So that is a very key point. So not every decision in that body requires the speaker assent, I want to believe. They have their rules. So they are looking at the rules and saying what they can do without necessarily the position of the speaker. And that's what they've been doing. They've been meeting, for example, they've been issuing threats, for example.
Before I get to Mr. Jewel or Councillor Jewel to talk about cost, right? Now, if they have a communication that they have to send to, say, the executive, to any branch of government, should that communication be respected? Let's say they send a communication to the president that we want to do X, Y, Z. Should the president respect that without the signature of the speaker, or when the speaker is not the signatory to that particular communication?
Are you asking me? Is there a question for me?
Yeah, that's a question for you before I get to Councillor Jewel.
Oh, okay. So the point I'm making is that if they convene as a body, as a plenary, right? Because I don't know the details of the rules. I don't have it. So I don't know the details of the rule.
Okay.
But I want to believe that the fact that they are able to meet and have a discussion and have a consensus and agree, I believe they can take some decisions. I don't know about signing the budget. I think that would be out of their reach. Okay. And I believe similar thing at that level will be out of the reach. But I know that the fact that they can meet, take decision, vote upon it, and do it, they will kind of scour the rules and see what are some of the things that they can do under that kind of temporary arrangement, right? Once they can do those things, they will continue to do it and make Fonati side weaker. Because mind you, the thing is not to project legitimacy, so some of the people from the Fonati can defect. That's the whole thing. The whole thing is not to take over from Fonati, is to continue to act and project power. So some people from the Fonati camp can defect and come to them and say, oh, these guys are winning, so let's go on their side. And once they get that number, bam, they can close up Fonati. That's it.
And Councillor Jewel, similar question. Now, they are operating as a separate body now, all because they have quorum and they feel that they are in majority and simple majority applies to have a discussion, to deliberate. Does that give them administrative power to appoint committees, to be able to send communication, and whatever they do that will require administrative signature? If they decide among themselves that this person will be a leader, will it be legal? Will it be constitutional? Will it be binding in the country?
So again, I don't have the rules, but I'm understanding that Tuesday next week, they would meet in quorum. If they have quorum, they will go ahead and formally elect a speaker. They will declare they will elect what you call the presiding officer, the speaker, and deputy speaker. And I understand that. I'm understanding that Fala is in the back and supporting them. So they have summoned him and said that if he doesn't appear, they will declare his position vacant. And so, but I understand they have talked and they have, they're putting that aside because apparently he's a strong supporter of removing Fonati Kofa, but sitting now with Kofa, side by side with the 43 on the other side. If they went ahead and elected a presiding officer, maybe a speaker, deputy speaker, and they have the quorum the whole session, And President Bouaka see that his legislative agenda, governmental agenda, is being stalled by what's happening. And considering that the legislature themselves are pretty corrupt, they will succumb to bribery, which I understand the Brown Hotel, Brown Hotel on Ralphie Highway. I understand.
That's another 1026.
Yeah. I understand there were a lot of them are meeting. In fact, some people are opting as there is an offer, there is a cross offer. We gave you this, no, making more than this. And so people would defect from Councillor Fonati Kofa area and join the 43. Most likely, they might before the end of November get the 49 they need in order to remove him if the matter continues as it is, because the House of Representatives and the House and the Senate members in that house, in those two houses, are operating on money. Integrity is not an issue with them at all. It's how much money that is offered. Okay, I'm also understanding that there are two things happening with Fonati Kofa here. The judge we can does not want Fonati Kofa. So they are working with Sam Twell, Fala, and others to be able to see how they can not supporting in a deceptive manner, but not supporting him to keep him there.
Councillor Joey, I want us to really focus on the legal side here, right? And my question I will ask now would be, okay, what is required in terms of number? Is that simple majority to elect a speaker and deputy speaker? Let's set the basis. Okay.
No.
Okay. What is the requirement to elect a speaker and deputy speaker in terms of number?
So
well, I think
so. You have. If I have to,
let Councillor just go first.
okay.
So you have to go back to the 49 people in order, because currently you have a speaker and a deputy speaker. Even though the group is sitting where it is sitting, there's no deputy speaker and speaker there.
Right.
In order to be able to elect anybody to occupy legally the position in question, you have to satisfy the requirement for Article 49. Unless
Councillor Joel, hold on. I want the audience to follow here. We know that 49 members is the threshold to remove any elected official. What I want to know now is there a required threshold in terms of number to elect speaker, deputy speaker, and any other official in the House of Representatives? Do we know?
So we have the total membership of the House is 73.
73, correct.
Right. So if things were normal, meaning they were not a split, and just a regular election. Right. The majority vote, let's say 43 voted for, let's go to what they have right now. 43 voted for a speaker, being normal. That would be a majority number to elect the speaker and deputy speaker. Okay. But as it is, that number will not apply because the positions in question, the speaker position, the deputy speaker position, are still occupied. Okay. Unless they resign, then if they do not resign by themselves, then Article 49 will be controlling. You have to remove them legally in order to hold an election using that number that we just talked about.
Thank you. Anthony Freeman, same question.
Yeah.
Any election of a speaker or deputy speaker by the 43 or 42, will it be binding?
Well, let put it this way.
Okay.
Firstly, Fonati was elected, I think, by 2 or 3 vote margin.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what they could do, in my view, is that they could have a vote on him, probably declare the position vacant, whatever, and they could decide to operate without him and just probably get a temporary, or how they call it, presiding officer or presiding pro temp, as they put it in their rules, presiding pro temp. And mind you, people should not overlook the fact that a legislative stalemate doesn't have to end in 1 or 2 months. So people should be reminded, like for example, in the case of Lebanon, I think the parliament elect the president and they have been having a stalemate for several years running. So I'm not saying it's going to go that way, but yes, they can have a vote of no confidence. They can ask him to subject to himself to inquiry, for example. For example, they can set up a board of inquiry and ask him to submit to it. And if he fails to submit to it, they can suspend him. You know, they can do a lot of things. So they could make things complicated. So why it's true that it is the black letter law that says they need 49. Like I said, there's a lot of other things they can do short of 49. And mind you, let's put it this way, right? The Constitution can tell you a direct, specific way to achieve an objective. But there's always an alternative legal way. And like I gave you an example, if the president appoints you as ambassador to the UK, if the House do not want you to be an ambassador, they could get together and say they vote against you. That's one way. The other way is they could decide not to schedule a hearing for you. They said illegal. Well, not quite. The president could appoint and they just decided not scheduling your hearing. So when the president pushes around and he can't get a hearing for you or confirmation hearing for you, you out. So they have not said anything. They have not done anything. But by they're not doing a specific thing, they have effectively done it. So if you look in the Liberian Constitution, there is no such thing as vote of no confidence, for example. But of course, the president, they can exercise it and they can tell the president, you know, they don't have the appointing power, but they can, you know, signal to the president, we don't want this person. And if you continue, there's a way they can complicate life for the president, and the president might decide, even though they don't have the appointing power, they don't have the dismissal power, but I'm going to adhere to what they are saying. So yes, I believe that they can vote. They can vote him to be like he's corrupt. They might decide to forward him for investigation to the Ministry of Justice, to the LACC. You know, they can get cooperation from the presidency to open an investigation. They could charge him with a criminal act, you know, for budget padding or whatever. So there's a lot they can do for the fact that they can meet. So if they decide to subject him to inquiry and he fails to, they could suspend him and then they could elect a temporary leader and operate on a temporary basis until they get the numbers to remove him. So there's a lot they can do. Just the mere fact that they can be. That's what I'm saying. In parliamentary democracy, when you have the majority, technically you have everything. And if you can't muster the majority, you will be better off tendering your resignation because life will just get difficult and difficult and difficult for you.
Thank you. So let's talk about cause as required by Article 49, that, you know, when you have 2/3 and you have a cause, you can remove the speaker, deputy speaker, or any other elected official. Simple question. What is cause? And what is the process in using that cause to remove a speaker, deputy speaker? But in this case, what cause they may need, and what would be the process of effecting that cause to remove the speaker? Councillor Jewel?
So the 43 members of the House of Representatives lay out several counts
In your resolution.
One of those counts has to do with conflict of interest. They specifically say Councillor Fonati Kofa is a member of the International Law Group. In fact, the owner, the senior partner of the International Law Group. And Councillor Fonati Kofa maintains legal contracts with Maritime, for example, Port Authority, for example, RIA, for example, LPRC, for example. Large, lucrative places that his law firm that he has now resigned from or suspended services at is holding contractual engagement, letter of engagement to provide services, legal services, including companies, private companies that hold concession agreements with the government of Liberia. These are serious offenses. And therefore, he has lost the respect, the taste, and credibility to continue to function as the Speaker of the House. Being as it is, he cannot be Speaker of the House when the concessions, government agencies that should be supervised and reviewed, the activities should be supervised and reviewed by the House. He is legal counsel for those, he and his law office are legal counsel for these institutions. Councillor Kofa himself.
Councillor Joel, before you continue, do we know or not whether he has recused himself from the activities of the law firm that we all know he established that is his firm? Has he not?
According to the 43 representatives, he has not. And they have accused him that if he did, letters to that effect would be available that he could answer the charges. But in order to counter the charges brought against him, which some of them are criminals, criminal in nature, he went ahead and came on Spoon Talk. And some of the things he said was that, look, you know, in the House, you guys don't want me because they have been asking, the way we operate, the House have been operating, is that representatives have interest in certain areas and lift the budget, increase the budget unconstitutionally or illegally. And money are sent to those interests of theirs. And then they go ahead and go after those budgetary figures, and let's say 3 million, you go for 2.5, the other 500,000 remain with the ministry that were lifted. Now, if the 43 are accusing him for cause, want to remove him for cause, he comes on the air and thinking that he trying to save himself or accuse his colleagues. He said that this is what has been happening.
He's trying to monitor the water.
Yeah, if the Speaker says that, then he must not say anything else because this is what he says is happening. He is the best evidence. He presents.
No, Councillor Joel, I listened to the interview, so it is not if he said that.
Yes. So he said that, and having said that, as the administrative head of the House, has he not indicted himself in conformity with the cause that the guy laid out?
He indicted himself and the entire legislature.
Yep. And he said, in fact, some of them came to him to go to give them to put the name down to go to Guinea to negotiate foreign policy. And some of them have been asking for money to go to other places. Some he refused. And this is how the House has been operating. Mind you, a deputy speaker. He said, this is how the House has been operating. So when he was deputy speaker with Dr. What his name?
Buffer Chambers.
That's how he said they were operating. And so that operation continues today. I don't know whether the guy, Council Fonati Kofa, caught himself when he was saying all of those. But, one thing that comes to my mind is that Liberia is what it is today because Liberia is a weak country. It's a weak society. Our laws are good, but our institutions are bad. And so Fonati Kofa were arrested here, indicted, and thrown in prison for more than 2 years. Councillor Fonati Kofa lost his license to practice law here. Councillor Fonati Kofa returned to Liberia and applied to the Supreme Court. The court, without investigating his moral standing, admitted him as attorney at law. Right after that, I think after some years, he was allowed to sit the Supreme Court bar exam, and he was deuced on that exam, according to them.
Yep, he was a valedictorian. He deuced it.
So today, he is a counselor at law. He voluntarily gave up his license here. It reminds me that our country is what it is because those of us who live here for a long time, when we return home, we'll do something different. Just take, for example, no Liberian minister will come from Liberia and drive a vehicle here without driver license. As it is. But you will see people in Liberia will drive vehicle for years. They will not do anything about it. Councillor Fonati Kofa remade himself through the system of the Liberian society. So is he and being legal counsel for all of these institutions that's supposed to come before the House. Look at the public work we're talking about. The 28 million that I said were used when the Minister King Council of Fonati Kofa then were part of the group that said, let's pardon this man. The part of the 28 million was say something there for them, or what was it?
And Councillor Joey, I'm not cutting you. Don't forget, he was the chief prosecutor for the civil money cave corruption scandal involving Vanny Sherman and Alex Tyler. The man who was guilty of eating client money was a chief prosecutor in a scandal in Liberia. How does that happen? Where? Anyway, that's for another day. So this is beyond belief. And Anthony Freeman, let me come to you. Fonati, in his interview, actually, if the colleagues didn't really have any cause to remove him, did he actually give them so much with this revelation that he made?
Well, I think in both ways, they got a lot of record on him, and then both in terms of his statements. One of the best things they can do is to set up an investigative panel, because that's where it becomes tricky for Fonati. Because they have a quorum so they can meet. Two, because they can meet, they can make decisions. So they could set up an investigative body and ask Fonati to submit himself to the body. It's a tricky situation because if Fonati failed to, he will be waiving his right to due process. And so, and if he submit himself to the body, he knows what they will do with him. So it is a tricky situation, but that is one way they can approach their thing legally, to kind of levy charges against him formally and write him and tell him, look, we met, because we had our quorum and we met and we decided that we charge you for this and we want you to come and submit to this investigative panel. And then he could decide he's not going to attend. If he doesn't attend, good for them. He's waiving his right to due process. Correct. So they could do that. And then they could start building the legal case against him. Because now, if he goes to the Supreme Court, the question will come whether he submitted himself to that investigative body. It will be very crucial. And, so those are ways. So like I said, they don't have the 49 years. But in a parliamentary system, the fact that they have the convening majority, right, they can start to win some smaller battles, and eventually they will win the war.
So let's come to the stay order issued by the Supreme Court pending a conference on the 4th of November. So the court has issued this, that, hey, we're putting a stay order telling the opposition bloc that do not engage in any other proceeding at the legislature until we can have a conference at the Supreme Court and make a decision before you can go ahead. But I saw communication from members of the House of Representatives saying, no, we're not listening to those people. I mean, they are actually talking their own thing. After all, we have quorum, and nothing can stop us from having any discussion whatsoever. What the Supreme Court is saying, that completely different thing they're talking about. Councillor Joel, can they do that legally? Is it not, a slap in the face of the Supreme Court of Liberia? Can they do that?
So the House operates differently from the Supreme Court.
Okay.
With the issuance of the citation from the justice in chambers, that citation has to be served on the chief clerk or an official of the House. In this case, the Kofa bloc is versus the 43 representatives. That order has to be served first on the 43 members, whosoever the presiding officer is. I know there's an acting chief clerk. There's a man there who is acting chief clerk. Will have to be served, and then the body will read what the citation is. In that process, if you say they should stay all proceeding, legally they would not be able to receive you will not be able to serve them And if you don't serve them, the citation has no legal effect until it's served, and not just published in the newspaper. It has to be actually served.
Sorry.
Also.
Okay.
Yeah, so if it's not served, then there is an issue right there. So they will have to convene in session, as they call themselves, and they will be served by the marshal of the Supreme Court. From that end, they will decide to file their returns. As it is, the justice in chambers, because it's constitutional issue, they have, I think the House has a lawyer. The 43 members will have lawyers, private lawyers, to work with them to file their returns to that petition. Again, I read, I think it was yesterday, I read that Councillor Fonati Kofa on his own has withdrawn that petition. So as it is, the 43 members will convene on Tuesday in session and decide what they wish to decide.
All right. Anthony Freeman, you want to comment on that? Councillor Jewett said, if they have not been issued yet, there shouldn't be any problem for them to continue with whatever they've been doing. Why, if they are issued, do they have any other option other than to respect the court decision?
Okay, but what is the court stopping them from doing?
Because Fonati filed a petition. That is why the court is acting on, and the court is telling them, hey, don't do anything until we can have a conference on the
No, not anything. Not anything. The court may restrict them with respect to activity regarding Fonati's removal.
Exactly.
That's how far it will stop. It will not stop them from meeting. It will not stop the 43 from meeting as a legislative body and from carrying out all other legislative functions short of the Fonati thing. And so Fonati doesn't have a lot of help because the photo will say, okay, look, anything relating to Fonati removal, you're positive. But obviously, they can get together, they can meet, they can summon staff, they can set up the committee, they can set up body of inquiry, they can set up visitation committee to go meet the executive. There's a whole bunch of things they can do to complicate Fonati's life. So the court, there is so many precedents that a strictly political matter, the court is not going to get involved. That's why I ask you, what is the court stopping them from doing? Because the court is not stopping them from carrying on their political functions.
The court is stopping them.
To the Fonati removal,
the court is stopping them from carrying on the removal process of Fonati Kofa.
That's a limited scope.
Right.
Because when they get together, they can set up committee, they can, assign tax, they can carry on other functions. So it's very limited. So and so I don't see where Fonati really is going with this, because I know, like I said earlier, legislators still may sometimes do last for a while, depending on how recalcitrant the people are. But obviously, even the president, if it lingers, the president is going to lean on the side that looks like they are winning.
So
the president
do we have examples in Liberia of a speaker being removed for cause that we can look to?
Well, when court of law, that's a strictly judicial body. Then you can take that issue of for cause literally. But if you're in a quasi-legal body like the Parliament, don't take that for cause very seriously. Anything they write on the paper that 49 members are willing to sign to will become cause. They will remove him.
Okay? Yeah, I just want to know whether there are examples of that happening in Liberia.
Because they had not used the other instances where the people resign under similar pressure that Fonati is under that. Like the case of Snow. I think Snow resigned without the removal, but he won a case at the Supreme Court, and there was a small pause, but he just took that pause to resign. Similar with Tyler. Tyler went to the Supreme Court, and similarly, there was the same stay order, and eventually the pressure caused him to resign. So the two-third majority is a hard bar, but like I said, Short of that, there are other legal moves that you can make that will make it difficult for the losing party to decide to give in. So yes, while they may not have obtained the exact 49 number, the pressure was sufficient for the speaker to resign. And that is why I see going with the case of Fonati, because the Supreme Court will not interfere in the political activity of the House. Okay, they're not going to interfere with that. So that way, Fonati will be losing again because those guys will continue to meet, they will continue to make decisions, and they will continue to take other action short of the removal part of the thing. And he will be in the court. So the longer he stays in the court, the executive wanting things to get achieved may just decide that they will side with the group that looks like they are winning. So I don't see it, either way you look at it, is not going to go well for him, even though he's going to the Supreme Court, yes, but I don't see it because the Supreme Court, like I said, is only going to provide you with a legal solution. But when you have a political problem, you have a bigger problem. So yes, the issue of for cause, if you're in a court of law, you can take it seriously. But if you're in a parliament, don't take the for cause seriously because anything they're able to write on that paper, once they have that number to vote against you, anything can become cause.
All right. And Councillor Joa, what are Fonati options right now? Because he is clear when he said, look, until you get out 49 or 2/3, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to resign. But if you get out 49, I'm out. Meaning the fact that the other side is not getting that 49, he will want to try to get 49 himself so that he can be victorious. Do you see a possibility for him to get 49 and maintain his speakership at this point?
So let me go to what Councillor Fonati Kofa think. In fact, the people who have been arguing for him, including himself, have been arguing that he is the administrative head of the House. The deputy speaker is with him. The clerk of the House, the chief clerk, is still on his side. And that they will adjourn from day to day and compel for the three that are sitting outside of his gavel to come together. Those of us who have had some time to listen to what the 43 are saying, Councillor Fonati Kofa is out. He will not get people to come to, you see, where it looks like light, meaning on the 43 representative side, the Unity Party will go that way and support them. If the president does, for example, the forecast, if the 43 members meet and set up an investigative board and cite Councillor Fonati Kofa as speaker and decide to try him for those accusations made against him, and depending upon what it is, they could also pressurize him by writing the LCA, LACC rather, to investigate on his own admission that they can take the state money and send it to agencies and ministries and go and get it from there, which is a crime. And other issues that they are charging him with, the violation of Article 91, the conflict of interest part of it. And at the end of the day, the president of Liberia would not, President Joseph Boakai would not, the executive branch would not sit and allow 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, 1 year to have no House of Representatives available to work with. As it is, he will come to Kofa stand to lose more members from his end to the 43. Mind you, when the 43 met first, people who signed the resolution, they were 47. So most likely they will go beyond 47 and hit 49. Or Councillor Kofa will be so embarrassed that he will have to resign. Neither the court can help him. He cannot be helped by the court. And I understand there is a civil society group that will file an action demanding that he resigns and get out because he has lost the majority. So that will be legal process or processes going on, or Fonati Kofa, that will obstruct his ability to function as a Speaker of the House.
There's a question I asked the other time that I'm going to ask you because it's relevant to the discussion. The way it is now on the political side, who can really be of any help to Fonati at this point?
Two people.
Go ahead.
CDC leader, former President George Weah, can speak to his CDC law. As you know, as we all know, there are people from CDC on the 43 group of
about I think 10 or 11 of them.
Yeah, and they are also with Councilor Fonati Kofa. So CDC leader, former President Weah can talk to his people to go back to CDC if he really mean to support Councilor Kofa. And the second person will be President Joseph Boakai. He can say to his alliance and Unity Party alliance that, look, you all return to the House under the speakership of Councilor Fonati Kofa. Politically, my government is enjoying a good relationship quietly. But you see, both President Boakai and former President Weah, they are sitting there and saying nothing and doing nothing concrete. In fact,
Councilor Jabbar, how do you know that? Maybe they are talking and what they're saying yet to yield any results.
You know, see, this is like a cult. If Weah speaks, people that he really wants, if we are really serious to ensure that CDC people return to support Councilor Fonati Kofa will happen, this thing will not even go 2 days or 3 days.
The boys are playing with money now. They got $15,000.
Yeah, but
they can give them such money at this point.
Yeah, but also there is the unproven news that gossip that Fonati Kofa will be on instruction to Weah in 2029. And so key members of the CDC will rather see him out, remove him from being so powerful to the point that he just remains a representative. So Weah has a fee there that he doesn't function the way he functions. You know, the party would think that, you know, removing him, they can have a speaker, Richard Nangbekun, to be able to speedily carry on the agenda. So politically, he has a problem. If those two people are not willing to talk to the representatives in the House and say, let it play out, he will lose. He lose, you know, in a bad manner. He may even end up resigning from stepping down from being representative and go thinking that he can run his law office and make money than to remain where he is. But mind you, the law office is running now that he's making money from has to do with his position as a speaker. So most of the clients are going there now run away from him like Councilor Vani Sherman, that the law office closed. Sherman no longer exists. I don't know whether you know that, but there's no Sherman in my river anymore.
Wow, that law firm.
That law firm is
yeah. Anthony Freeman, can you unmute yourself? I want you to chime in on that same question. Who can save Fonati? If anybody, I mean, I'm sure he needs some help here.
Well, I don't know whether firstly, let's start with the legal solution he's trying to seek. Okay. So he's not going to get anything other than maybe some legal formality, calling these guys to have a joint forum, whatever. But eventually, even if he enters a joint forum, they're going to vote against him and they're going to, you know, create a lot of problems. So his problem really is that he has to find a way either to get some people from the other camp. But Fonati has already burned a bridge.
Yeah.
He's burned a bridge. Okay. I don't know whether he was making personal overture, but to come on air and spell out the quote unquote dirty laundry, in the public, I don't see a way back for him. So right now he's acting like a spoiler, like if I don't get it, you people will not get it. We'll all go down, stuff like that. I think that's why it's going on. But look, like I told you, I don't see a way out for Fonati other than resigning. That is his option. Okay. But if he doesn't, those guys need to open a formal inquiry into him, and they'll make it tricky for him because now he has to submit, and he knows when he submits, it will deal with him. If he refuses to submit, he will be waiving his right to due process. At any point in time that he decides to go to court and say he was not accorded due process, the people will say, hey, we invited him, we set up a committee or inquiry, and we told him to come, and he chose not to come. So I don't see any way out for him. And look, let me tell you something. We have to normalize the issue of resignation in Liberia. And a personal story, when I was in law school, I was president of the student government there. And at some point, I had some rough patch with a professor. And at the time, I really didn't think, the student didn't tell me to resign, but I really didn't think I was getting the level of support that I expected from the student body. I tendered in my resignation. And people say, oh, why you have to resign? We voted for you. You need to call a conference for us. We who voted for you, so that we can. No, if you want to resign, you just go to your room, you write a resignation letter, and you pass it on the next day. After all, we're not born with position. And, and people say, oh, it will complicate your future. In the near future, you might be running for a position, and the people will say, oh, this guy, he's quick to resign. No, that's leadership. So they don't have to even tell you that we have a vote of no confidence in you. Once you reach the point where you believe that you are not getting the level of support that you expect from the people you are leading, your duty, leadership duty, is to resign. So what in the past two situations with the other speakers, once they realized that there was no path forward to leadership, they resign. Fonati is just wasting his time. And Fonati is not doing it for the Liberian people. He's just missing the millions of dollars that is in his speaker budget that he has access to, and that he will no longer have access to if he is just a regular lawmaker. And that is what Fonati is fighting for. Fonati is not fighting for the Liberian people. So the Liberian people who are thinking Fonati, no, he's not fighting for you. He's just fighting to have access to that speaker budget. Because as we know, there's no accountability in the Liberian government. So if $5 million is in the speaker budget, Fonati can use all that $5 million and even use another $2 or $3 million on top of it. So I don't see a way out for him, and I believe those guys should open an inquiry into Fonati and ask him to submit to that investigation, and that's where they will catch him.
So, Councillor Joel, as it is now with this statement, will it be legal? Will it be constitutional? Will it not be any violation whatsoever? Will it be proper if the president of Liberia decides to say, well, according to the Constitution, I think it's Article 33 that talk about simple majority constituting a quorum, and I have a bill that I have to send to the House of Representatives. I'm sending it to the opposing bloc. Will he be doing the right thing if he did that?
So politically, he will be acting correctly because the majority is on that end. Even though the speaker, and mind you, the deputy speaker may go there very soon. The deputy speaker, they are on one side, but the pressure is not on the deputy speaker. The guys are saying, Fala is our man. We'll deal with Kofa. And so once he sends the budget, for example, to the 42 members, the day that happened, the hour it happened, the minute it happened, people will run away from Fonati Kofa. And he will see that the people who, because the legislature, the Senate, and the House of Representatives, these boys or these women and men operate on money. And who knows, politically, the president will say, in Grand Crew, so-and-so person you representing, people there, I intend to ensure that the high school there is uplifted to a modern high school, computers and other things, which will help you to when you are running the next time for the people in Grand Crew to ensure that you remain, I think it's 6 years, right? You come back for another 6 years. That representative who is not putting money in Grand Crew or G will basically go on his side or even just offer him something for himself. I heard that some of the representatives are not asking for 60,000 to remove themselves from Kofa's side to go to the majority.
and Kofa said he's not going to give anybody a penny.
Oh yeah, but right now Kofa he will have sense to not give him money because the people run away from him. If he gave money to
if he did that, he'll even be incriminating himself, because if anything that is playing to his favor, I don't know if it is even working, is this settlement that, how could these people take the amount of money? This is complete robbery to remove a speaker. So this is why he is trying to use as a stepping stone on a moral ground to win sympathy. So if he's someone sorts and try to use money, whether in the back end, and if it leaks, then of course he's further damaged.
But the guys had documentation on how his budget as deputy speaker had been, how he spent off budget money, how he current position, how he himself is involved in ensuring that ministries and other places get money, that he gets it back. So there are many things that would be outside the law that the guys will get to him. And why the legally using, the president could use, that's what Mr. Sieh did. The president could use Article 33 and say, hey, there is a simple majority here. And so we'll send the budget there to ensure that things will move on. People will just, run away, leave Fonati Kofa and one, don't answer a phone call anymore, and become member of they become 46, 47, 48. Then later on, you see Fala once a 47, 48, Fala will go there. And then things will be normalized. Fonati Kofa would either resign. I think his political life will have ended. So he'll resign, he will leave the house and go run a law office.
Any history, any precedent, any example, anywhere in any country where a speaker found himself in the same position Fonati in and has survived, Koine?
No, I know the opposite. I know the opposite occurs. And if you follow the elections in Italy and Israel, they've had elections like almost every year because they have the parliamentary system. Like unlike us, we go for second round, right? And like they don't go for second round. Once you cross the first round, you just take another party that is like maybe have the vote to take you over to the 50%, and then you form the government. But then sometime along the way, they will have confusion among themselves, and the minority party will say they are pulling out. So that happens in Italy, that's happening in Israel, that's happening in the UK. At least in recent times, those are places where it happened. And once that happens, they call a new election. And now what we're realizing is that maybe they need to go back to the rules, because when this conflict arises, that's when you get to know that your rules are somehow deficient and you need to correct it. So they can go back to the rules and correct it, But, what Fonati is on, it will not end up well with him, because he needs to survive, even because there's a lot of corruption allegations on him, right? So his resignation can be a negotiation. Like, guys, if I tender my resignation, you people will go slow on criminal charges, stuff like that, right? But if you fight them to the letter, obviously those guys can submit it to the Ministry of Justice. I mean, because there's a lot of corruption, and they can step on their own corruption, right? But just like what Bwaka is doing, he's stepping on the corruption of his people, but going after CDC people. So if those guys take over power from Fonati, they can decide not to investigate their corruption, but they can decide to investigate Fonati's corruption. So Fonati can go from not being leader to probably being expelled from the house, to also probably being or slammed with criminal charges. And if, for example, let's say if Joseph Boakai is on board, because he was the one who had been trying to spend money to move Fonati. If Joseph Boakai is on board, trying to get criminal charges on Fonati would not be very difficult. We've already seen that there's a lot of corruption, so it's not too difficult. So Fonati can use his resignation as a negotiation to ask for leniency for his people. But if he play hardball and those guys finally get the number that they want, it can go from him not being speaker to not being member of the House to being a criminal indictee. And I don't see, especially if they indict Fonati for corruption, I don't see how he's going to get out of it. Because that house that they are in, they have been beefing in corruption. From the Senate to the House of Representatives, over the years, since Madam Selig days up to now, they have been beefing in corruption.
Attorney Freeman, what you just explained could be a perfect example, right? But those guys who even instructed somebody who violated the laws of Liberia that just apologize and will let you go, they are the one going to go after their colleague.
But they are limited to Fonati, so that's why they will do it.
You have a body of unserious men and women who don't even have a website. Do you not know that the judicial branch of government in Liberia has no website of all the millions?
Yes, I know that. I've been frustrated myself many days and trying to write articles on them. I can't get anything from them
to
because
ensure
of no website.
That the speaker is prosecuted for them to bring charges against him.
They could possibly do it because we've seen Boakai doing it.
All they are interested in right now is let a man get out of the way so that we can go for the gold rush.
But the amount of dirty laundry that Fonati is spilling is like drawing blood. So if he draws enough blood and the guys get angry, they could decide not only to remove him from speakership, but they could expel him from the House. I hope you know that. They can do that also. They can expel him. And then in addition, as soon as, because they are saying Boakai people are the ones that are pushing it, if Boakai people are the ones that are pushing it, it's not too far for them to get criminal charges on him. So they can also do that. So it is in his interest to negotiate. Look, guys, I know you want to get me out, but look, you just get me out, but you leave me alone. You know what I mean? But if he decides, if he gives them the run for the money and they manage to get him out, I mean, you can't rule it out. It's a possibility.
Thank you. We will soon go to the phone line. Or Councillor Joel, can you introduce something that I like, that they can go as far as trying to expel him from the House of Representatives? Is that possible? This man was elected by my county Grand Crew, electoral district number 2, to represent, our electoral district. What right, what power got his colleagues in the House to say, well, you can't represent Grand Crew? Is that doable legally?
So yeah, a durable, they have the same the same article, the same 49 that they're talking about. He can be expelled. And I don't know whether he is mature enough to understand that these are dangerous ground that he could be walking on. Because again, I like to go back to my colleague Councillor Vani Sherman. Sherman was one of the very powerful law officers in Monrovia. When Mrs. Ellen Johnson Selig wanted to ensure that Sherman got in trouble, Vani Sherman, his Big Ball 1 and Big Ball 2 were the things of the day. That not only did he get to be prosecuted, but he was sanctioned. And that his law office, if you ever been to Councillor Vani Sherman law office in Monrovia, I think it was 3 stories. There's a flat floor, the second floor, I think there's a third floor, something like that. But that place is closed. All the clients, the American clients that were working with Councillor Vani Sherman have all fled. The same will happen to Councillor Fonati Kofa. He continued to behave the way he's behaving, and he is prosecuted for corruption, all the things that are happening. Mind you, President Boakai is not punishing or investigating anybody who work in the United Party government when Mr. Ellen Johnson Selig were in power. In fact, they complained that the statute of limitation has expired. And he's going after CDC. Councillor Fonati Kofa run into a great serious problem. He may, even in a jail term that he may serve jail term, he could be prosecuted, convicted. instead of jail term, because people that those guys are working with had documentation on him to show how much money he transacted illegally with that could create a problem for him. So perhaps he could go to Omen Waka and say, you know, I will lead the thing. Y'all give me clemency, cut me a slack.
Exactly.
Let me go. I want to run my
In
law.
peace.
Even I will resign from I will leave the legislature. Or on my term is out, I will not run again, or I will leave right now and go, participate, run my law office. But he is in trouble because even if he left and went to his law office, most of the international clients that he have American connection. Sanction will come after him. That's another thing will come. Sanction will come after him.
Well, Councillor Jewa, we don't know that yet, but that is a possibility. It happened with Vani Sherman. It could well happen to Fonati because what we see here is much more similar. So let's leave it there. Councillor Jewa made adjustment. You are too low there. We will take a short break. When we come back, we'll start taking phone calls. We have some folks on the line waiting to participate. Focus on Liberia, FOL Justice Forum. We are discussing the legal ramification of the attempts to remove Fonati Kofa as Speaker of the 55th Legislature. A short break. We will be right back. Stay tuned.
Our country, sweet Mandela, our country, that God gave all this country. That God gave all this country. We are calling on everyone here to come and pray for this country. Liberia, God gave all this country.
Thank you, and thank you indeed, fellow Liberians. I want you to know that God gave us this country, and I continue to wonder how could Fonati, just lose a majority in the House, but that is politics. We will go to the phone line. Here we have the man James Laza, who wants to participate in the discussion. James, my friend, how you doing? How's family? You alive?
Who has been waiting for a while to contribute?
I'm surprised that you kept me on the line for this long when I really wanted to be a contributor to the discussion. You have two top lawyers over there, and that was good. I respect your platform for that because you do make effort to invite relevant subject experts. Unlike various other platforms, but you will balance it with having somebody from the political background, which I thought I would have helped. But that's good.
But James, I can send you the line now. You say you wanted to participate on the line. The way we do it, I mean, I accept your criticism, but the way we do it is the guests discuss the issue, and then we switch to those who are calling. If you are asking me, say, Ansony, send me the link, I want to come, I would have done so. But go ahead, my friend.
Oh, okay. I've seen you accepting people online to shoot from the background, but that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Look, I have to commend the two lawyers you have. I respect them very deeply. And Mr. Freeman, I have Councillor Jewa's number already. He and I have talked over the years. I'll be trying to get your number with Councillor Freeman or Ansony Freeman to see how we can work together. But look, you guys have made very great points. I want to stress that Fonati Kofa, at this point, what he's experiencing is what you may call optimism bias. Thinking that the consequences of the situation he's facing are exclusive to others but not him, or that he has a leverage or immunity from suffering from similar consequences that affect people in his situation. People like Ali Stider, Everyman Snow, former Pro Tem, Ahmad Jala, former Pro Tem, Asim Yanibo. There is no precedent where somebody has been issued and the outcome has been any different. And I heard one of the 43 members yesterday on another platform threatening that if he keeps giving them problem when he eventually take over, they might have to expel him, which is the very point the brother that is making. But look, as soon as I want to share this here, it's about time for Fonati to leave, and surrender. He lived in the state for many years. Just recently, the Speaker of Congress here, he had to resign because of only 2 to 3 persons. Only 2 to 3 out of 435.
Yeah.
Only 2 to 3 persons threatened him and he resigned. Yet he has lost the trust, the credibility with the overwhelming majority of the members. Why does he want to embarrass himself in the nation? So he needs to go in. So someone President Barack to help. He's already really helping. You know, doing the first 2 times or helping with the other speakers, the president did, which was very corrupt and discredited president, really was playing a key role to get the speakers out. In this case, there is no evidence at all that President Barack is doing any such thing. So that alone means a lot in favor of Fonati Kofa. President Barack cannot appear to be meddling in the affairs of the legislature when he doesn't know which side will win. After he's not a very popular president, he won by only 1 point. You know, so there's a difference. I just thought to make that point. Again, I must end because I don't think you want to give me a lot of time here, but I have a couple of points to make. Maybe you can call me back to make
No, James, go ahead. I give you additional 2 minutes. Go ahead. Make your points.
Well, I appreciate I appreciate that. So you have the Constitution calls for 2/3 absolute majority for them to impeach for nothing. That's 49. In the case, the group of lawmakers are not calling for impeachment. They are not even calling for removal, even though that is what they're calling for, but that's not what officially is the case. They are asking him to recuse himself. They are accusing him, and once they're accusing him, they don't expect him to preside over that. He needs to leave. Apparently, he doesn't trust the deputy. That's why he's causing all this problem. And in the end, they're going to remove him because of that. And if they remove him, as Ansony was saying, they might have to subject him to investigation for his current behavior, including the other counties listed over there. And they have already started threatening expulsion. I don't think they're going to do that, but it all depends on how long he's going to drag this thing. So it's all in the interest of himself and the country and his own constituents for him to resign and keep his position. There are direct consequences he could face because of USA, and I don't know him personally, and I really have not been. I have been displeased to see that someone from America who was convicted of criminal charges from back home to redeem himself. Instead of doing that, he instead got him to keep corruption against the poor people of Liberia. Then he's talking about it's hard to change Liberia. How long has Fonati fought for changing Liberia that he thinks he's qualified to say he's tired or that it's hard? It is people say and say, well, Bongo, then that should come and say it's hard to change Liberia. Not Fonati. He has never fought for changing Liberia for a single day. So he's not qualified. He needs to go. And I want to say thank you very much, Ansony, for the time, and you've been very kind to me to give me that amount of time. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Focus on Liberia is for all of us, and we appreciate your contribution always and always. I have another caller here. That is the man, Evan Morris. He is very consistent in giving his contribution from a sedition perspective. Mr. Morris, how you doing?
All right, thank you, Mr. Sieh, and hello to the panelists. Well, when people come here and try to advocate balance, like the last caller, saying all kinds of tabata and saying that Joseph Boyka don't want to remove Fonati Kofa. It's insulting our intelligence.
Elevate your voice a little bit, Evans. Go ahead.
We know how Liberia runs. Mm-hmm. So for somebody to say that, the president has no interest in removing Fonati Kofa, we know that's a blatant lie. And second of all, Fonati needs to understand the position of speaker is not, it's not inherent to him. It's his colleagues put their trust in him, whether it was induced, but they put their trust in him and he can lose their confidence. And the majority that is required has not come together and say that they don't have confidence in Fonati Kofa. So he can still be speaker until that majority is reached. So when we have legal professionals on the panel who rather want to make political points and take political jabs rather than just sit and claim what the law says, then the conversation becomes diluted. It becomes a mixture between politics and legalese. So if we're going to sit here and say that Fonati Kofa, the allegations against him this is the allegation. Harping on the allegation rather than the legality of the 43 members. Then let's just make it a politics show rather than a legal show. So for me, overall, I think ultimately Fonati Kofa will learn that if in fact he did bribe these guys or gave them smuggling to vote for him, that would be money not well spent, because whatever he thought he was going to gain from bribing his way allegedly to the speakership, he wouldn't have recuperated those. He probably hasn't recuperated those monies that he spent. So ultimately, it would be a losing speakership for him. He spent a lot of money allegedly, and I don't think he's regained that money. So ultimately, I think the CDC wants him to be there, but maybe they just want him to be in a more opposing direction than the president, not saying to be going along with the president. That's the issue they have with him. But it's not so much to the point that they want to remove him because they don't like him or because he's threatening former President Weah. No, they want him to be more on the partisan line, but nothing wants to be more, patriotic, if you can say that, to be in the country's interest rather than the political institution interest. And he's a sophisticated man. But if you want to be sophisticated and you go in a den of thieves, there's no honor amongst you guys. And this is what he's finding out right now. So ultimately, let him just resign. Maybe even resign from the legislature, go back to his law firm where you're making, tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars, and enjoy his life. Unless he wants to continue to sully his reputation.
Is that why you advised the speaker to do that? He should resign because, like you say, there's no honor being among thieves, even if you are the leader.
I mean, ultimately that's his decision. But after leaving the speakership, if it does happen, it will be very difficult for him to ascend to that position again. So why sit there and just be a perpetual, junior representative, when in fact you're a student lawyer in a country that you can go into your private sector and make a lot of money and have a lot of friends in the legislature and have positions in the government and use your influence, to be a top-notch lawyer. I mean, ultimately, if he does get out of the speakership, resign from the House and go back into your legal profession and do well there. That's how I see it. But thank you for taking my call.
Evan Morris there, calling from the great state of Minnesota. Thank you, Evis. We appreciate your call. Councillor Joel, you just listened to the two columns. Anything that you want to maybe respond to that they said you agree with or disagree with?
I disagree with Mr. Morris. There is an example of what happened to lawyers like Councillor Vani Sherman Law Office. Unless the government is not interested in the costs or the charges brought against Councillor Fonati Kofa by her colleagues, the 43 representatives, the longer he stayed there and he gets to be expelled, and then Minister of Justice is invited to investigate, the law office that he's talking about will be closed. There's no Sherman law office in Liberia anymore. In fact, I had a lawyer who joined my office in Liberia. One of the things he said to me was that when Sherman closed, he tried to go to several other top law offices. They said, you can't come here, you're coming from Sherman. Stay with your Sherman, even though you're closed. But we don't want American people who got some contract from the American embassy. So we will not take you. And that the young man said he was running around from place to place. And that's what it will be. You will see international law group, everybody over there will break apart. They will go, Councillor Moses Pega took half, I think, almost to tell the law office of Sherman. It is now called Pega and Advocates, I think, something like that. And so that's what will happen to Councillor Fonati Kofa. The last time I saw Councillor Sherman, he was, at the Supreme Court. He didn't look well at me at all, knowing Sherman to be somebody very bright, who is, aware of what the legal, issues are, able to discuss it ably. You're looking very tired to me. And so when you lose, you continue to challenge, and you lose, you may just that may just be the end of Fonati Kofa in Liberia. So I disagree with him that he can, leave the legislature and go make money after accusing the people from being corrupt, which could lead, if it led to investigation. Even if the Americans do not investigate, they could just place all of those guys on what they call administrative. When you apply for a visa, they got some process called the administrative review. They take your passport and put it down. Don't give it back to you. They just hold it for 1 or 2 years and say they are investigating, doing administrative investigation. 6 months down the road, they just give your passport back to you and you don't come to the United States. Most of the guys who steal the money in Liberia want to come here and buy houses. And other thing I understand, Council Sherman also lost 2 of the houses, one in Maryland and I think one in Virginia. He lost those houses, he lost them. That could be the scene with Council Fonati Kofa.
Anthony Freeman?
Yeah, the first thing I want to say is when you are discussing the Parliament, Speaker, it borders on constitutional law, but it also is political. So, always the fact that we may sound political, it doesn't make it less of a law. The only fact is that constitutional law is more like a political law. And so that's why when you are discussing it, it sounds political. But, I mean, it's law notwithstanding. The other thing I want to say is Fonati didn't help himself by playing both sides. Look, a lot of criminal activity went on at the House, and Fonati Kofa stood his ground. Let's start with even the speakership election. It was very clear Joseph Boakai then offered bribes. Fonati Kofa opened an investigation once he became speaker. He didn't do it. Then later on, Yeke Kolba came up with clear-cut evidence of bribe being circulated. Fonati could have opened an investigation. Fonati didn't do it. Then Boakai then spent 15 million outside the budget. 2.5 went to NSA for covert operation. 2.3 million went for petty cash.
Miscellaneous.
Yes. Fonati could have investigated. He failed to. I can bet you that 2.5 million for covert operation and that 2.3 million petty cash, some of that money is filtering back to remove Fonati. Because money has been distributed. It's very clear. I mean, we're not going to take the picture of it, but money has been distributed. And the fact that at least one person took the money and turned it over to LACC, it should tell you that some kind of dark money is being circulated. But will we be talking this thing if Fonati had investigated those things? No, we'll not be talking it. He will probably be the champion of CDC, and the number of CDC people in the 43 will not be there. The entire CDC will be on one side.
Yep.
So he didn't help himself, and now he's not even helping himself by going public and making a lot of accusation and all of that. And at the same time, look, he has committed crimes. Let's be very frank. Because if you are allocated maybe $1.5 million budget and you overspend on your budget to the tune of $6-7 million, you need to call in and find out how you were able to go above your 1.5 million budget to spend up to 7 million. It's very important for the Liberian people. Even the Liberian people, you see, that's the problem in Liberia. The thing that is making us poor in Liberia is what we support, we welcome. Right now, we are talking about Fonati is not important than any other person. He's spending more than $7 million in essence of his budget. He needs to explain. He needs to be subject to criminal investigation to find out how could he have gone $7 million above his budget. Now, Liberian people who are poor, who are suffering, lack health care, lack education, transportation, energy, they're not talking about that, which is more detrimental to their well-being. They are talking about how Fonati is treated bad. You know, they against Fonati. No, look, we cannot continue to allow these politicians to blow our national resources, subject the nation to poverty, And every day we see obituary of young people dying, dying from lack of nutrition, dying from lack of health care, dying from lack of future. And the people who are taking those future away is people like Fonati and the rest of the other people in that capital building that is blowing up the national resources. And instead of calling those people to account, instead of us celebrating when one of them is called to account, we take side, we back them, we support them, we encourage them. What is there to encourage? Fonati needs to explain. And not only that, the legislator for which he was deputy in, they spent $360 million. You just talking without a website, without filing any monthly report, without filing quarterly report, without filing annual report, $360 million. And we know what to do with that $360 million under the speakership of Fonati and Kofa Chambers. And Fonati is talking about he wanted to bring audit. How about the first time you were there as deputy? What happened with the audit? So these are people who are very cruel. They are wicked to their country. And the sooner they get down, the better it is for Liberia. So Fonati does not deserve any support. And Liberian people, too many people are dying. Too many young people are malnourished. Babies are malnourished in that country because the money that's supposed to go for their benefit is being blown up by people like Fonati. And we sit there, we say we support them. So I don't really mind. In fact, I feel they should open an investigation into him. And if they find corruption allegation against him, they should forward him to the Ministry of Justice so that he can face the music. After all, the Americans knew what to do with Fonati. It is the Liberian people who don't know what to do with people like Fonati. That's why he ran away from America and went to Liberia. The same thing the Americans did to Fonati in America, we should do the same to him. I'll be very happy to see Fonati behind bars. That would be the beginning of some of the accountability we are asking for.
Thank you. We have come to the end of this very important discussion. I just want to share with you people the international law group that Fonati is head of, that he established, that he is the principal of. It has a website. Fonati is Speaker of the House of Representatives. Fonati was Deputy Speaker for 4 years or more.
6.
The House of Representatives has zero website. Zero. But his own business.
Yes.
In his wisdom, he knew that a business of that stature needed to have a website so that people can access this and contact that particular business. But he is a representative of the Liberian government in the House of Representatives, where millions of dollars are being allocated. Millions. Look, if they could have only just allocated just 500,000, they could get a website.
That's big money. I have a website. I spend around $350 per year for my website. I got a personal website that I spend $350. So that money is way too much. I spend $300 around that money for my website.
That's what I'm telling you. Here at Focus on Liberia, we build our own website.
Yes.
It's up and running. We don't make money here. It is the level of seriousness that you bring to your responsibility.
Let me tell you.
Go ahead, Councillor Jeremy, and I know your law firm has their own website too. Go ahead.
Let me tell you why the House of Representatives and Senate may not have a credible website.
The Senate doesn't.
They will
promise over 6 years ago. It has not happened.
They are afraid. They are afraid of people seeing what they are supposed to do or they are doing against the Liberian people. I think like 3 months ago, this guy from Spoon Talk, somebody connected him to their chat room, to the Senate chat room. All the thing the guys would discuss there is about money for themselves. You think website is not important for the body that they occupy, that they operate? They would not, because it has to do with how much. Recently, when the Senate went to Grand Bassa County to have their retreat, they spent $700,000. The president pro tem, who been behind George, we are foot to foot along with Dylan. they were able to give, I think, $10,000 to her father church. These guys would not build website because it is against their interest to build a website. They are not building website for Liberia. They are not going to have people to know about what they are doing. If you hear by Nyombi Kanga, maybe you heard her name before, but you will not see her activity on any website. It's deliberate. It is in their favor to behave the way they behave. Fonati, as you said, you think Fonati Kofa, why did he create a website for the International Law Group? Because he wants to attract international clients, and those clients should be able to read into, you'll find detailed information on their website, on what they do, how they do it, who they hire, the lawyer they have. But in the house, no.
They want to remain in darkness, and this is pathetic. And Dennis and I today make phone calls, send text messages, trying to get the horse rules, the very rules that they use every day for their operation. We as a media institution reached out to several lawmakers. Someone said, well, I'll try to get you a hard copy. When I got back to them and said, I'm trying to get it from somebody else. You are a representative. You don't have a copy of your horse rules. If they have website, that rules will be there.
It will be on the website.
You are able to get the rules for the House of Representatives in the state of Michigan. I have a copy. What am I going to do with that?
Yes.
But my own country, I can't get the rules.
And Fonati then was there, and they couple up $360 million.
So Frankie is completely useless to Liberia.
Yeah. So it's a waste of time. He should be in jail. He should be in jail. He should be ashamed of himself. He should be in jail.
The Liberian National Bar sat. In fact, they were a member of the bar of the Supreme Court that signed a sponsoring council for Councillor Fonati Kofa to be admitted as attorney at law. Knowing fully well, what my office did was, I was so concerned with this guy admission. I wrote the code where he was tried. They forwarded to me all of his conviction documents, including the releasing of his license to turning over his license voluntarily. But you think the people in Liberia have interest in that?
No, they don't really care.
No.
They don't care.
Look, Ellen Johnson said he supported him to the point in that Ellen saw Councillor Vani Sherman as a threat. And in order to be able to go against Councillor Vani Sherman, even though he himself is corrupt, is that Ellen decided to bring Fonati Kofa to investigate them.
Yes.
And pass money through NSA for them to be able to run that.
Exactly. And I know they gave him $4.5 million to pursue a $900,000 bribery case.
Yeah, what's
that is the Fonati that people making noise about. I mean, he's that worth. He should be in jail. Just what the Americans did to him in Liberia. I mean, in America, that's why they should do. The House should do to him. That's why I'm more interested in them filing the allegation against him, opening an investigation into him, and call him to submit himself to due process.
All right, gentlemen, we have to leave it there. Great discussion. Let me get your closing, starting with Councillor Joel, please.
I would just say that Liberians need to more like support themselves, support development in Liberia, support the kids getting into school and going to school. Interestingly, when I think Councillor Fonati Kofa came from Italy, I saw a group of young men, over 10, 15. They were at the gate of the Capitol building. The great speaker. I said, oh my goodness, these boys will not go to school. They behind this man who has all of the money, who has little interest in them. I think as things stands, unless Liberians come together and actually elect people of quality, people of interest in Liberia, it will be as it is, because the society is a whole system that is difficult to change. Take for example, the commissioners at the LTA. During Mrs. Ellen Johnson, Selitan, those people are making $25,000 a month. So when Mr. Weir came, he said, "Well, I'm going to downsize it." He downsized the amount to $15,000 a month. President Bwaka came and sat down. Everybody then making the chairperson making $15,000 plus his benefit will be something like $17,000. The budget they talk about, a minister is given $3,500 almost for gasoline fuel. How many ministers do we have? How many deputies do we have? Where is the money going? Why would there be electricity? Until Liberians learn to put into position people who would best serve their interests, who will ensure that development will occur. I was just saying that, Grand Crew, I like the video that I saw, how beautiful the place is. I've never been there before. But how would that place, how you will go there? Maybe you will have boat, or there's no road, there's no way to get there. The place is not developed at all. So development is dependent upon our people. Maybe the more we can do to educate them to know how to vote and vote for the right thing, the better it will be. Fonati Kofa has no interest in Liberia. Fonati Kofa had no interest in where he was elected. Fonati Kofa had nothing to do with the young people. He being removed doesn't mean anything. I think he should be persecuted.
Thank you. Going ahead.
Okay, so I think a lot of discussion is put on the fact that the Constitution says that they will need two-thirds majority, which is like 49 persons, to remove the speaker. But the statement that there are, I think, 9 ways to kill a cat. Is that the statement? Is that the parable?
Mm-hmm. Many
ways to skin the cat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. So that thing is true in many spheres of life, and it is true in law. The fact that the Constitution says you need 49 to remove the speaker doesn't mean that there are no other legal ways to remove the speaker. And we know that from history that at least 2 speakers have been removed, not necessarily by arriving at the 49, but by arriving at a number that a sufficient majority to embarrass the speaker until the speaker decides that he doesn't have the support and he tenders in his resignation. And is it legal? Obviously, there's nothing illegal about it. It's not written in the Constitution, but there's nothing illegal about it. So that's the thing. So a parliamentary system works on majority vote. You get it? You are head of the parliament, and in some countries, you are also allowed to put the government together. And when you lose that majority, you lose the speakership, and in some countries, you lose the government, you have to call a new election. Fonati Kofa knows that. And he spent all many years in America, he definitely knows that. But when the guys come from the Western world and they go back to Liberia, they decide that Liberia is a place where anything goes. Liberia is a trash can, and they can do anything. The first thing those guys are accusing Fonati of spending above his budget. Where in any Western society you are going to spend above your budget? Where? It's not going to be possible. No. If it's going to be possible, then it's going to be approved at the highest possible level. Mm-hmm. But these guys go to Liberia, they offer bribe to finance ministry official, they offer cut, they make friends with the president, they get leverage, and they just blow the country money for no reason. And as a result of them blowing the country money, the country is poor, young people are dying, young people are without job, people lose hope, poverty is abounding, children are malnourished, and they ride around in luxurious vehicles and they feel very happy.
Of course.
It's very sad what is going on in the country. And unfortunately, you have people that support them, people that vote for them, people that suggest that everything they do is fine. It's very unfortunate. So for me, I know that Fonati should just read the history and he will know that he's not going to survive. But I would suggest to the House to set up an investigative committee and invite Fonati to face that investigative committee. And that is where Fonati will meet his Waterloo, because it will be like a do or die. If he submits, they're going to slaughter him. If he doesn't submit, the one legal advantage that he has will be gone. And that means he has refused to accord himself the necessary due process, to clear himself. So that is what I think. But, for now, as that I favor any of them, I think all these guys, they have criminalized the country. They have subjected the whole country to poverty. Liberia will be better off by removing them from power. But at the end of the day, it's a matter of vote. And, if you keep voting for these kinds of people, the government is going to be in a terrible state. I would like to end on that note.
On that note, that is how we'll come to the end of Focus on Liberia Justice Forum. Councillor Joel, Senior Legal Analyst at Focus on Liberia, thank you. We also want to thank you, Anthony Mono Freeman, for your contribution. And we also want to thank our audience who stay with us. Focus on Liberia, we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Until we see you again, this is how we will say bye-bye. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.